There's a sound that only you can hear when life begins to collapse around you. It's not an explosion, it's a crack, a quiet fracture deep inside the chest. It happens when you've been holding too much for too long. The deadlines, the expectations, the silent storms that no one else can see. Maybe it happens in an office bathroom where you stare into the mirror, forcing yourself to breathe. Maybe it happens on a dark road when your hands shake on the steering wheel and you whisper, "I can't do this anymore." Or maybe it's invisible. You smile, you nod, you keep functioning, while something inside quietly unravels. That's the sound of a mind near its breaking point. And the truth is, everyone hears it at some moment in life. But there are those rare people, the ones who seem untouchable, who walk through chaos with unshakable calm. They face storms that would destroy others, and still they stand. It's not that they don't feel pain, it's that they've built something inside that doesn't crack. What is it that separates them from the rest? What makes some people collapse under pressure, while others transform it into power? That's what we're going to uncover together, because the ability to never break under stress isn't magic, it's not luck. It's built from the inside out, through understanding what pressure really is. You see, stress has a way of disguising itself. It doesn't come to you with a warning label. It creeps in quietly. It hides behind your responsibilities, your ambitions, your love for others. It makes you believe that being overwhelmed means you're weak, when in truth, it means you've been strong for too long. You push harder. You say, "I'll rest later." You take pride in carrying weight, until one day, the body starts to whisper what the mind refused to hear. Enough, but we don't listen, do we? We reach for caffeine, motivation videos, another deadline extension. We tell ourselves we can handle it, because breaking, even slightly, feels like failure. We live in a world that celebrates constant motion. People brag about how little they sleep, how much they grind, how unbreakable they are. But what if unbreakable doesn't mean never feeling pressure? What if it means learning how to dance with it? The truth is, stress itself isn't the enemy. Pressure is the birthplace of growth. A diamond is just carbon that refused to crumble. Steel is only made by enduring the fire. The problem isn't the stress, it's how you carry it. You've probably felt it before, that tightening in your chest when someone questions your worth, the silent panic before an exam, a meeting, or a confrontation, the endless loop of, "What if I fail?" running through your mind. And the loop feeds itself. The more you worry, the more your body believes you're in danger. Your breathing shortens, your focus narrows. You begin to fight ghosts that exist only in your head. That's the human loop, the cycle of fear, tension, exhaustion, repeat. You survive the day, but not the thoughts that follow you home. You lie in bed and replay conversations. You imagine outcomes that haven't happened. You hold on to every mistake as if your life depends on remembering it. That's not resilience. That's self-torture, and the world applauds it because it looks like effort. It looks like dedication, but it's just suffering in disguise. Let me tell you something simple, but difficult to believe. Stress doesn't break you. Your reaction to it does, because every stressful moment presents a question. Will you collapse inward or expand outward? When life pushes against you, your mind has two options: tighten or open, resist or adapt, and that single choice defines everything. We've been trained to think of stress as something we have to fight. We use words like beat, overcome, conquer, but you don't conquer the wind. You learn to sail with it. Imagine a tree in a storm. The weak one breaks because it's rigid. The strong one bends. Flexibility, not hardness, is the secret. That's the beginning of real strength. the kind that doesn't shatter when pressure hits. But before we learn how to bend, we have to understand why we stiffen. It begins with control. Humans crave it. We think if we plan enough, predict enough, prepare enough, we can avoid the unknown. But life laughs at control. The moment you think you have it, something shifts. A diagnosis, a betrayal, a sudden change, and all your mental walls crack at once. We mistake control for safety, but the truth is, trying to control everything creates the very stress we're trying to escape. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. Now, here's the revelation, the turning point that changes everything. What if the goal is not to avoid breaking, but to know how to rebuild faster than you collapse? Think about it. If every time you fall apart, you rebuild stronger, are you really breaking, or are you evolving? Resilience isn't about being bulletproof. It's about being alive enough to hurt, but wise enough not to drown in it. The strongest minds on earth aren't those who never felt stress. They're the ones who befriended it. They learned to turn the heat into fuel, to make pain a teacher, not a jailer. So let's go deeper. Let's explore how that transformation happens. The climb from fragile to unbreakable. The journey begins. Lesson 1. The body keeps the score. When you're under stress, your body becomes your battlefield. Your breath shortens, your heart accelerates, your shoulders tense. Even your vision narrows. Your mind is screaming, survive, but you're not being chased by a lion. You're being chased by your own expectations. That's why step 1 to never breaking under stress is this: don't fight your body. Listen to it. Take Michael Jordan, for example. During the 1997 NBA Finals, he played through what everyone thought was the flu. Barely standing, drenched in sweat, trembling, and yet he scored 38 points. People saw superhuman willpower, but behind that was mastery over his body's chaos. He didn't resist the pain. He channeled it. He once said, "My body could be sick, but my mind never was." He knew where to place his focus. He knew how to breathe through the storm. Your body speaks before your thoughts do. It tells you when you're reaching your limit. Learning to read its signals isn't weakness. It's intelligence. When your heart races, don't suppress it. Slow down your breath. Feel it. The more you try to silence your body, the louder it will scream. But the moment you accept its rhythm, it becomes your ally. Lesson 2. Control the frame, not the picture. Life throws scenes you never chose. The traffic jam, the unexpected rejection, the harsh words from someone you love. You can't always change the picture, but you can change how you frame it. Serena Williams once said that she never saw losing as failure, only as feedback. That's why she could face defeat and come back stronger, because her mind reframed pain as information, not identity. When stress hits, your instinct is to ask, why is this happening to me? That question breeds suffering. Change it to, what is this trying to teach me? That question builds growth. Your perception creates your pressure. The same situation that crushes one person can awaken another, not because life changed, but because meaning did. Imagine carrying a 20-kilo backpack. If you think it's punishment, you'll resent it. If you think it's training, you'll grow from it. The weight is the same. The story you tell yourself isn't. So when the world shakes, don't ask for lighter burdens. Ask for a stronger back. Lesson 3. Detach from the noise. Most stress doesn't come from the event. It comes from the echo. You're not crushed by what happens. You're crushed by what you think it means. The words people said, the assumptions you made, the narratives you keep replaying. To never break under stress, you must learn the art of silence. Not external, but internal. Elon Musk once said he compartmentalizes stress like folders in his mind. When a crisis erupts, he places it in one mental box, opens it when necessary, then closes it completely. That's how he operates multiple companies, without collapsing. It's not emotional detachment. It's focus. You can't control how loud the world gets, but you can control how deeply you listen to it. Try this. When chaos rises, picture yourself underwater. You hear the muffled world above, distant and distorted. You move slowly, deliberately. That's how you think, clearly, in noise. By diving below it, the more you practice inner stillness, the more the storm outside loses its grip. Lesson 4. Shift from pressure to presence. The mind breaks, not from what happens, but from being everywhere, except here. You're worrying about the future, reliving the past, comparing yourself to everyone else. You're nowhere and everywhere. But presence, pure presence, dissolves stress like sunlight on ice. Kobe Bryant used to describe entering a state of total presence. He called the zone. In it, the crowd disappeared, the noise vanished. Only the next movement existed. That's why he seemed so calm under pressure, because pressure only exists when you leave the moment. Try to remember the last time you were completely absorbed. Drawing, running, listening to music. You weren't anxious. You were alive. That's what real presence feels like. The antidote to pressure is not escape. It's full immersion. When you are fully in the moment, stress has nowhere to land. But presence takes courage, because it means facing what's in front of you without the shield of worry or distraction. It means breathing, even when it hurts, feeling, even when it's uncomfortable. That's where unbreakable minds are built. Not in comfort, but in consciousness. But every climb has a point where even the strongest legs tremble. Every mind, no matter how trained, faces the moment it whispers, I can't hold this anymore. It's not the mountain that breaks you. It's the silence at the top, when no one's there to see how much it cost you to get there. This is the test, the storm, the moment when even breathing feels heavy. You know it well. The sleepless nights, the hollow mornings, the fake smiles, the quiet fear that all your effort might still not be enough. That's when the mind starts to fracture again. When the weight doesn't just sit on your shoulders, it presses on your soul. The voice of exhaustion becomes louder than reason. It says, why? Keep trying. Why not just let go? Does any of this even matter? And in that fragile instant, the one where giving up feels easier than standing, you face the truth of your strength. Because strength isn't loud. It's not the roar in the gym, the big speech, or the perfect recovery post. It's the whisper that says, one more breath. That's where resilience is born. Not in victory, but in survival. The strongest souls I've ever known weren't the ones who never fell apart. They were the ones who met their own breaking point and kept walking through it. They sat in the darkness and didn't run. They let the storm rage until it had nothing left to take. And when it passed, they realized something sacred. They were still there, breathing, alive, changed, but unbroken. You will face moments like that. Moments that will tempt you to abandon everything. Your dreams, your progress, your belief in yourself. And in those moments, don't fight harder. Listen deeper. Sometimes the path to never breaking isn't to resist more. It's to surrender wisely. Not to give up, but to give in to life's rhythm. To let the storm pass through you, instead of clinging to every drop of rain. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your life as a vast ocean. Some days, the surface is calm, glass, like. Other days, it's chaos, waves crashing, winds howling. When you're in those storms, the surface feels impossible, but beneath it, in the deep, It's still, always still. You carry that same stillness within you, no matter how violent the world above becomes. Your depth remains untouched. That's your anchor. That's how you never break under stress, not by staying rigid on the surface, but by sinking into your depth, where peace lives quietly, waiting. Now, let's talk about recovery, because resilience isn't a single act. It's a rhythm. It's inhale and exhale, push and release, fight and rest. You can't hold your breath forever. You can't sprint through every day of your life. If you do, stress wins, not because it's stronger, but because you've forgotten how to pause. Even warriors rest. Even kings kneel. Even the earth sleeps under winter before blooming again. Rest isn't weakness. It's renewal. Let me tell you a story. There was once a blacksmith, known for forging the strongest swords in the land. One day, an apprentice asked him, "Master, how do you make steel so strong?" The blacksmith smiled. "I heat it until it's red. Then I strike it again and again. But I never forget the most important step. I let it cool." The apprentice frowned. "Why? Wouldn't more heat make it stronger?" The blacksmith shook his head. "No, too much heat, and even steel turns brittle. It must cool to remember what it is. You are that steel. You can handle the fire, but only if you remember to cool. Take time to breathe. Take time to feel. Take time to let your nervous system reset, so your strength doesn't harden into tension. Balance is the secret armor. There's another truth most people miss. Stress doesn't only test your strength, it reveals your values. What truly matters surfaces under pressure. When you're overwhelmed, you start to see what's essential and what's noise. Maybe that project isn't as urgent as your peace. Maybe that person you're trying to impress isn't worth your sleepless nights. Maybe the race you're running isn't even yours. Sometimes breaking under stress is just your soul's way of saying you've been carrying things that were never meant for you. So, let go of what's not yours. Put down the invisible weights, the expectations, the comparisons, the need to prove something. You don't have to earn your right to rest. You already deserve it. When you finally release what isn't serving you, you make room for what strengthens you. Peace isn't found in doing more. It's found in doing what aligns with your core. Think about every great performer, every leader, every artist who ever achieved something remarkable. They didn't just master pressure. They mastered recovery. They knew when to push. They knew when to pause. They understood that the bow must bend before it can release the arrow. That's the dance of resilience, the tension and the release. Now imagine yourself again, not in chaos, but in stillness. See the person you were before the storms, anxious, reactive, fragile, and see who you are becoming, composed, aware, unshakable. You're no longer trying to fight stress. You're learning to breathe with it, to move with it, to let it sculpt you, not destroy you. You've learned that not all pain is punishment. Sometimes it's preparation, that not all stress is the enemy. Sometimes it's the sculptor of your strength. You will still face challenges. You will still feel the tremors of fear, doubt, exhaustion. But now, when they come, you'll recognize them for what they are. Tests, not threats. Signals, not sentences. Opportunities, not endings. You will meet them differently now. Not with panic, but with patience. Not with collapse, but with calm. Not with, why me, but with, watch me. Because the truth is, being unbreakable doesn't mean you never bend. It means you trust yourself enough to bend without losing your shape. It means that, no matter how heavy life becomes, your spirit doesn't fracture, it flows. That's the kind of strength no one can take from you. The quiet kind, the patient kind, the kind that endures. Let this sink in. Stress is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It doesn't arrive to destroy you, but to introduce you to the parts of yourself you haven't met yet. When you learn from it, it loses its power to control you. When you make peace with it, it becomes your companion on the path of mastery. So, when the next wave of life hits, and it will, when the deadlines close in, when the people disappoint you, when your plans fall apart, remember this. Don't tense. Don't panic. Breathe. You have survived 100% of your hardest days. You've rebuilt yourself every single time. Life tried to break you. You're not fragile. You're forged. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be invincible. It needs people who are calm in the storm, steady in the chaos, grounded in truth. People like you, not because you never feel stress, but because you've learned how to stand still inside it. So the next time the pressure rises, don't ask, can I handle this? Ask, how can this make me stronger, wiser, deeper? Let the world push against you, and when it does, don't break. Breathe, observe, flow, and remember, you are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. The measure of your strength is not in how little you feel, but in how gracefully you rise when you're trembling. The goal is not to never break. The goal is to always come back, softer, wiser, and more whole, because you were never meant to be unbreakable. You were meant to be unshatterable. So when the next storm comes, stand tall, breathe deep, and let this truth echo in your heart. I do not break under stress. I bend, I breathe, I become.